Hello and welcome to the GBC Productions channel. This is episode 77. We are in part 2 of the engine rebuild. Now I have already removed the cylinder heads and I did not have the camera rolling for that. But there were only 8 bolts that hold down each cylinder head. Let's take a quick look at the cylinder heads. As I had stated in a previous video, the push rods were not in this engine, so I didn't have to worry about that. But like I said, there were 8 bolts that hold it on. They're all the same length except for these two. These two are the longer bolts. I have them sitting over here. So the longer ones go in these two center holes, and the rest of them are the shorter bolts. Anyway, back to the main event. We're going to go over to the timing chain cover and remove that, and then pull the timing chain. So I'm going to remove the oil filter and then take off the oil filter adapter, and then we'll take off the timing chain cover. I'll be doing a lot of this off camera because I don't want the camera in my way. It'll be interesting to see if any oil comes out of here. Well, the filter is full of oil. So I got the oil filter adapter. There were 4 bolts, they're all the same length. And right here in the middle looks like the pressure regulator. I'm going to start taking the timing chain cover off and I'll be back in a moment. There are 3 smaller bolts that go through the oil pan into the timing chain cover. Now some of these bolts are different lengths, some of them are studded, some of them are longer, some are shorter. You just have to keep that in mind and keep them in the right place when you take this apart and put it back together. So here's the inside of the timing chain cover. It actually has the oil pump in it right here. And that's the cam sensor. And this is the cam button, or the thrust button, that keeps the cam from walking out. And the oil pump drive is driven off of the crankshaft sprocket. And here's the chain damper. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this chain off of here, and I will be back. Before I pull this timing chain off, I just want to show the timing marks. There's 2 little marks there, one on the crank sprocket and one on the cam sprocket. That's how you would line it up when you're putting it back together. So the timing chain's off. Let's go ahead and pull out the lifters, and then remove the camshaft. Looks like there's 2 bolts that hold this retainer down that holds all the lifters in place. Let's do a little bolt removal. And now the retainer plate comes off. Now the lifters have these little guides that keep them from rotating. And then the lifter should pull right out. They may be a little bit stubborn. They've been in there for a long time. I got one out. Here's one of the lifters. They are roller lifters. Some of them are coming out easier than others. This one came out fairly easy. All the lifters are out, and the oil passage on the lifter, there's a little hole in the side of it, that points up. Now it's time to pull the camshaft. Now I need 2 hands to do this, so I'm going to have to put the camera down. With the camshaft out, I flipped the engine upside down, and I made a mess. Not really, but it's time to pull the crankshaft out. We're going to undo the main bearings and the connecting rods. So before I go any further, I'm just noting the notch here and where they sit on these connecting rod caps. Now they're all this way across all 6 of them in pairs. Now the flywheel's already loose, so I can rotate the engine. All the connecting rods are disconnected. Now it's time to undo the main bearings. There are 4 main bearings. They are numbered, and they have arrows to show you which way to install them. This is number 2, number 1, and this is number 4, which also has the rear main seal. Once I removed the main bearing caps, the crankshaft lifted right out. Now in some engines, to remove the pistons, especially on a high mileage engine, you'll need a ridge reamer. Hopefully these pistons will come right out. I'll be back in a minute. So the piston slid right out, no problem. I didn't need a ridge reamer. So all I need to do is just carefully push the piston out, and now they're all out. Everything's off this block. The only thing still in there is the knock sensor and freeze plugs. The next video will be assembly of the engine. I'm going to do the cleanup and painting off camera. Don't forget to subscribe for more, mash that like button, and comment below. Until next time, this is Uncle D from GBC Productions, signing off.